I feel like now we're giving up because we're kind of trending up there right in the last week. Like
Kind of climbing.
even way before the weekend, yeah.
Even before the weekend, yeah. Good observations. One other thing I want to point out to you that isn't in your participants guide, we're going to touch on it a little bit later. It is on this chart, so I want to point it out, but with the caveat that we are going to touch on it in a chapter that's a little bit ahead. But I want to show you it on this graph, because it's not a mistake that this purple line is here. So this purple line is going to denote that something is changing on the 11th of the month. Any guesses as to why we would put a purple line on this chart and say, This is where, sort of as Tracy pointed out, we're sort of going in the wrong direction, and you guys pointed out we haven't had a lot of success. So what does that tell us?
You're doing it not working, you need to figure out why.
Yes. So apparently we're not doing great at this. So we're going to figure out why. Where are our gaps? What are our barriers to achieving this 1,200 calorie a day intake? Okay? Yes.
So is the purple line the last success?
The
Last
purple
goal
line,
met?
no, not necessarily, but the purple line means that this is where I have changed something. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to start looking at the why, right? Why aren't we
Oh,
having a
okay.
lot
So
of
we're-
success with this?
Got it.
We're going to decide what we can do about it, and then we want to know if that works. So we're putting a line on our chart to say, I'm going to do something different at this point.
Another thing you can do too, it's not on, and this is just an example of a chart. There are tons of different things you could do to make it look just a little bit different. One of the things that I like to recommend to people is to put the line there so that you understand an action took place and see if you start to trend differently. But you can even write what the action is kind of along that line. You know, if you, whatever it is you changed, you can kind of write, on this day, I did X. This is my kind of experiment from here forward. So it doesn't show it there, but again, that's something you could do to make it more clear as to exactly what the change was on that day.
Sure, make it work for you. You can do a little
Yeah.
asterisk down here, say
Yep.
this is what I did, draw it out in margin, however you want to do. Pictures.
When we did our 2020 goal setting, we talked about minimum expected and exceptional goals. Is that appropriate for both lagging and leading metrics? And I guess any more context on when we made that decision as a system, what sort of expectations we have to be moving in that direction?
Sure. So when we talk about the minimum expected and exceptional, when are those measured? Are you measuring those daily, or are you measuring those monthly as your outcome?
I would expect it to be more for lagging, but I guess when I think I know it's for lagging. I'm wondering if you would also leverage it for leading, because when I think about the purpose of why you have a minimum expected and exceptional is still beneficial for leading metrics. Because if you're talking about, wow, I know I'm trending above track, if you are hitting, let's say our goal looks like 12:20, I have a hard time reading this graph, but if we're hitting 11:40 and we're really meeting an exceptional mark regularly, to me that would still be helpful to know, because I would recalibrate what this goal might look like.
So what I think you're saying is you could add additional lines here. So if we kind of wanted to meet that higher goal of exceptional, we might have 3 lines here. So we might have a minimum. This is what we do if we want to meet minimum. This is what we do if we want to meet expected, and this is what we do if we want to meet exceptional. Does that sound right?
Right, but I guess it sounded like from your kind of leading question back that we wouldn't do that for.
I would probably chart it on the lagging, just because for simplicity and to kind of, because you're plotting this daily, there are going to be a lot of plot points, so it kind of might be putting kind of too much in there visually, but see what works for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the way I approach it with most teams is to say, if you're measuring daily and you're talking about a team that's huddling every day, which we'll talk about huddling here too, to say, did we meet goal or not? It can tend to get a little murky if you start to have multiple goals. It's kind of like, well, what are we really trying to get? If we just get minimum, do we celebrate, or do we not celebrate until we get exceptional? So I find that just having one goal on a leading metric tends to work the most effectively for people, because everybody knows exactly what that goal is. Here's where we're trying to get. It doesn't mean you can't celebrate if you're trending toward goal or if you're getting close. Certainly still celebrate as a team, but to call it 3 different goals, to me, makes it a little bit more confusing for the folks on the team. That's just my 2 cents.
So then
It's not law, but just
Yeah.
the
I
way.
would just say, to back it up then, what's the main intent of having the minimum expected and exceptional? And when does this make the decision to do that, or is that just like a one-off our team did, I guess?
I think the idea behind it is to stretch a little bit and say, like, this is kind of where we're trending, this is where we kind of look like we're gonna end up, and can we stretch it a little bit to be exceptional? Any additional thoughts?
I think that, the way we were instructed was if you are, and from a coaching standpoint, if I'm at a board and they're meeting their expected goal, encourage them to push to meet the exceptional goal after that. Because what happens if you put the exceptional goal up right away is they would get discouraged from kind of not being able to reach it fast enough, and then their engagement kind of runs low. So if you put an expected goal up, if they're reaching that, then encourage them to set the bar a little bit higher as the exceptional goal and then go from there.
And you'll be able to see it, and you'll be able to have those conversations at the board. You guys quickly identified the trend here. Are we on trend to meet our goal of losing weight this month? What do you guys think? Even just with 2 weeks of data, are we on trend to make our goal of weight loss for the month that we're in now? No. So would we be at exceptional or expected? Probably not, right? We might not even make minimum.
I think you should also consider what else is going on besides the data points here, because maybe this guy, instead of drinking all weekend, is doing Tough Mudders all weekend, so the extra 100 calories isn't gonna matter, right?
Could be, yeah.
I have a little more optimistic view of this poor guy.
Give them some credit, right?
Yeah,
I like
full
it.
support.
But yes, what's happening here is the data is causing us to ask the questions, why? What's going on? Yes.
Yeah, so with that purple line where we've implemented new steps to help us achieve this particular goal of calories, would you then create another daily run chart to track that? So let's say it is drinking Robert, I'm less optimistic. And they, their plan is to switch to Michelob Ultra. Would we create a daily run chart?
So the line
of,
is big ultra right there, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna lighten the beer.
So would you create another daily?
You
run chart?
absolutely could, because we know that it's more than one of the how that's gonna get us to the what, right? You guys quickly identified in the beginning, if we wanna lose weight, we need calorie intake plus maybe nutrition plus other things, right? So yes, definitely. So you can partner those, and then both are sort of feeding up to help you meet your goal.
Just a quick question, can you have more than one line that way? Like, okay, now on that day, I maybe do a different line and say, now this is the change I've made. Like he said, the ultra beer, and then trend from there, and then maybe do another line saying,
Yes.
this is what I've done,
Yes,
instead of all these charts.
yes.
Because
Spoiler alert, you're getting ahead of us,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
Yes.
You guys are so
Your
smart.
train of thought is absolutely in the right direction. You guys are totally on track. Yeah, so this might be Mick Ultra, then your next one might be, I'm going to maybe switch up the food or whatever it is. But
Okay.
yes, we're getting there,
Okay.
yes. But you guys are asking that important question of why are we trending this way and what is causing that, right? So I'm going to introduce you to another tool to help us identify why we're not meeting goal. This is called a Pareto chart, okay? And it doesn't mean anything special except for the person who sort of created it. So it's just a Pareto chart, and it's just a tool for us to track the reasons why we're not meeting goal. So you guys identified how many times in this 2-week period did we meet goal? 2. We only made goal 2 times, right? So the other times, we want to look at why we didn't make goal. So we want to identify some reasons why we might not meet goal. So those reasons are plotted out here. We've got late night snacking, dining out, travel for work, no time to prep food or prep healthy food, vacation living, you wanna know more about that, take vacation living for 200, and then family wedding or reunion, so some kind of special event, okay? So these are the reasons why we might not make goal. Now, each time we don't make goal, we're gonna put that date in one of these categories, okay? So if I don't make goal on the first of the month, I'm going to plot that into one of these reasons why, okay? So for the first of the month, looks like I didn't make goal because, I think this is May, so I'm gonna say late night snacking. Okay, so do you see May the 1st over here? Corresponds with May the 1st over there. Okay. So on May the 2nd, I also didn't make goal. And it looks like that corresponds with, might be, is it squeezed in here or am I missing it?
I think the chart is actually,
Yeah, I don't think they actually correlate one to one, now that I'm looking
Okay.
at it. Typically they would though. I think
Okay.
this is just a poor example.
But what you're pointing out is also that this chart, this reasons why chart, this Pareto chart is gonna be on here for the life of our metric. So as long as we're tracking weight and why we're not making goal, we'll keep this on here. This daily chart is going to need to be switched out every month, right? Because we're gonna run out of days in the month. So we'll keep our reasons why up here, and then it'll match what our goal is, but our month will have to change. So we'll just put a new month on top of the old, so we have that historic data. So on the 2nd, if it's June, we'll find June 2nd on the graph or on the reasons why, and it looks like we were vacation living on the 2nd. So each one of these data points would correspond with a reason why. Does that make sense? So that we can go back and look, why didn't we make that goal?
So do you keep that Pareto chart when you do like the intervention, that purple line, or do you take it a new one?
No, keep it. Because sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, go.
What we would like to see is with that intervention, it might change. So we've got some bubble up here on late night snacking, dining out, and travel for work. But if we do an intervention related to one of those, we might not see any more come up in this category.
So how do you connect the intervention on the graph? So if this chart here, this Pareto is gonna be for multiple months, right? And you're gonna have a new chart every month in front of the other ones, right?
Mhm.
So how do you know that an intervention happened? Do you put a line like across above like 511 in that first column to indicate that there's some intervention there? You hope that it doesn't continue then, or how do you connect the intervention with this chart?
Yeah, we're gonna add another piece to our performance board that's going to talk about our interventions. So yeah, I'll just show you really quick.
Okay.
So up here, you're going to have your outcome or your lagging chart. This is gonna be your leading chart or your daily run chart. This will be your Pareto or your barriers that are captured up there, so that chart will be here. And then there's gonna be a chart to capture your interventions. So kind of to someone's point, it might be one, it might be switch what I'm drinking or eating, and then there might be additional ones, right? So this will correspond to what's up on that chart with that purple line.
Okay.
I have a quick question about the format of this chart. I normally see the items on the.
You see them on the
Yeah,
y-axis.
so are you guys changing that format or?
It's a tool, you could use either one, doesn't matter, it's just kind of visually
Because
how
you
you
don't
want
always
to see
know
it.
what those will be.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, she's kind of visualizing it with, and I've seen that a lot in Wisconsin, I think it's very cool. But the reasons why would just be listed over here, and then your occurrences would be listed this way.
I think within a month you would have those categories, but when you're initially starting, you don't know.
Correct.
You might not know, yeah, you
Right.
might put a couple up there and find that you don't have anything in those categories, so maybe they're really not reasons why, they might have just been a perception.
I think too, to me, this chart is also a little deceiving because it's typed as if it was planned ahead, like we knew exactly what the issues were going to be or why we weren't going to meet goal. But keep in mind that if you're actually utilizing one of these in your department, you're gonna be handwriting those reasons in at the bottom as you discover them, right? So, you know, in other words, if, you know, you're gonna start the month, or when you start this metric, you're probably not gonna have anything under root causes, because you don't know yet. So as the days go by and you don't meet goal, that's when you're filling in that bottom part to say, oh, today we didn't meet goal because of X. If it's the same as yesterday, to Jen's point, you're just gonna add the date on top of what's already written there. So, because again, the intention is for it to become visual, because you're looking for one of those reasons to stand out above all of the rest. That's where you want to start addressing going into countermeasures, which Jen's gonna talk about here in a moment. But the reason that we do it either this way or horizontally works as well is to get a visual to tell us which of these problems, which of these root causes is really keeping us the most often from reaching our goal. Because when you talk about problem solving, that's what you wanna focus on first. Doesn't mean that's the only thing you're gonna focus on. You're gonna start with that, try to improve that, and then to Jen's point, if you keep this Pareto living, then you go to the next tallest bar, because that was also keeping you from meeting goals. So then you're gonna start working on that particular issue as well. So
I'm just used to looking at the hospital, it's.
it looks funny.
Yeah, it is, so, yeah. Which is a fun chart too, I really like that one as well, and I think they both tell a similar story, yeah.
So I think may have answered my question, where this root cause, this Pareto chart would tell you which happens most often, and that's what you would work on. Again, my question would be is if, let's say it's late night snacking is causing us to barely meet our goal each day, but you'll see that there are some outliers that are really driving our